My next guest is one of the top featherweight MMA prospects in the entire world. I think he is one of the top fighters in all of the UK. He joins me today. It's an honor to have him on my show. Jordan Vucenic. Jordan, thank you so much for being here, champ. I appreciate you.
No, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for getting me on.
Let's just start. Let's get right at it. I'm going to start asking you some tough questions right away. Cage Warriors 145. It's first and foremost. I know that fight didn't go your way. It was a performance, though. It was an absolute war. I'd love to get your thoughts on the fight with Hughes. What are some of the things that you see when you look back on that fight with a fresh pair of eyes?
I think just my biggest thing, was switching off with the last 10 seconds to go in the third round. I think I paid dearly for that. I thought to myself, yeah, 10 seconds left, the round's finished, and switched off, and Hughes blitzed in and caught me with the couple of killer shots that ultimately led for me to have my eyelids split in half, and then it was sort of a downhill slope from there on out.
That's like one issue that you identified, like, okay, well, this is where it kind of started to go downhill. But what are some of the things that you did in that fight that are positives?
Um, Not that I can think off the top of my head. There was nothing that I was super impressed with when the fight finished. Yeah, nothing I was super impressed with, and everything needs to be better, I think.
The last question about Hughes, like when I think about you two, I think of like this like Daniel Cormier, John Jones sort of rivalry in the cage, but outside the cage, it's completely different. I'd love to like kind of get your thoughts being able to like compete against a high level caliber opponent like Hughes. That's only going to make you a better fighter, no?
Yeah, 100%. And we know how good Hughes was. My coaches almost didn't want me to take that fight. They were happy for me to sit out and have waited for the UFC call, but I'm not that type of fighter that's going to sit out and wait it out. There was a lot of questions in the air how close the first fight was, and I just wanted to get that fight back on. And we always knew it was such a toss up with how good and how high his level is as well as mine. So just one of those things, big risk, big reward, and obviously it didn't pay off for me this time. But yeah, I like Hughes as a person, and I would like to run that one back in the future.
Well, I'd love to see it. And I think he likes you a lot as a person too. Like he just won, as soon as he gets his hand raised, like he goes over and he's sharing like a moment with you. I'm not going to ask you all
Yeah.
the things that you two talked about, but I'm sure there's just a ton of respect between the two of you for sure.
Yeah. No, he's a good person. I mean, we were even talking when we were in the cage, and I remember there was sort of maybe 1 or 2 minutes left in the fifth round. I was cut, bleeding everywhere, and Hughes actually, when he had my back and I was in the body triangle, he actually said to me like, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hit your cuts anymore." Like I think he knew he had the fight, so it was almost like from his end, what's the point in causing any more unnecessary damage that
Mm-hmm.
could maybe do something to my career in the future. And yeah, so fair play to him. He actually said to me, "Look, I'm not going to hit the cuts anymore." And if you actually watch it back now, he's only tapping me really lightly when he was on his back. And I
Mm-hmm.
suppose that's just to keep the ref from stepping in and standing us back up. Um, so yeah, I've got to give him respect for that.
I wish nothing but the best for Paul Hughes. I hope he gets a call up. He deserves it.
Yeah.
There's no tougher fight at 145 pounds than you. And, fair play to him. He did exactly what he needed to do. Talk to me, though, in the aftermath of that fight. When I think about you, you've said a few different things like, hey, I have a wife, I have children. The wages that I get doing this, they don't pay my bills. And I want to move up and I want to get a shot in the UFC. And if that's not going to happen for me, then I'm gonna do something different. In the aftermath of this fight, did you have those thoughts in your head? Did retirement ever like enter your brain at all, or were you just thinking to yourself like, no, I'm gonna regroup, I'm gonna go back out there because I'm close?
Yeah, my big thing was, I think this is where I maybe come across wrong with it. It was never the fact if I lost, I'd be done with this sport. It was if I won, I might have been done with the sport. And I say that because, all I've had is tough fights from my debut pro fight. I'm not one of these guys that fought loads of journeymen and built their records. Right from day dot, I had tough fights. So I've been put through the trenches right from my start, and to get to 9-1 where I did, it was such a big thing. And I was thinking if I was going to go 10-1, I've beat all the best guys in Cage Warriors, all the best guys in Europe when you beat all the best guys in Cage Warriors, and I still wasn't getting that call. I mean, I didn't know what I was meant to do from that point on there. Was I meant to take a step down in competition, which I wouldn't have wanted to do? I would have always wanted to step up and test myself in the UFC. So losing the fight, obviously, that's not what happened. I didn't win and didn't get the sign, so I lost the fight. So do I deserve to get the call up to the UFC at the minute? No, I don't think so. I think I've got to get some more fights now, some more wins. So now it's about building and it's getting back on it. And I'm coming with a new, the same fire, but a new mindset with how I'm going to win these fights from now on.
24 March, Cage Warriors 151. You're going to have an opportunity to get back in the cage and remind, I think, everybody of how special of a fighter that you are. Can you tell me a little bit? This Italian guy, Ferranti, he's the guy that you're scheduled to fight. I can't claim to know a lot about him, but from what I have seen, he looks to be like an exciting prospect that a lot of people are excited about. He's undefeated, never lost a fight. That goes all the way back to his amateur career as well. What are some of the things that you see when you look at this guy?
Yeah, I think he's a good athletic fighter, good finisher. I think all round, I've seen that he trains at King's MMA and stuff like that. So of course he's going to be well versed in every single area. I think the main thing between me and him is he's just not battle tested like I am. You can look like this great finisher when you're fighting these lower level guys, but we'll see how much of a good finisher he looks when he's fighting somebody that's, as you've seen in the last fight, willing to die in there. We'll see how good of a finisher he looks when he's fighting that kind of fighter.
Jordan, you are the toughest guy I can think of at 145 pounds. Your heart is unquestioned. In many ways, you remind me of Anthony Smith. Like he's the type of guy that's never going to quit out there. You're going to have to drag him out of there in a body bag. He's just not going to quit. That you two are very similar in that regard. And that was one of the things that flashed in my head when I watched you fight Hughes. I was like, this guy's not going to quit. He's not going to take it out, even if you give it to him.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that I didn't, because I've said to a lot of people I don't think I would have been able to forgive myself if I didn't go out for that fifth round. And I'd have always had that what if I caught him with a shot in the fifth. So I'm glad that I went out and I just give it all I had, sort of thing. And it was a very, very strange experience. I mean, I was losing that much blood in there when he had me in the body triangle in the fourth round. I could feel my body about to black out almost 10 in a row times, sort of thing. Yeah, I kept feeling myself going in and out of consciousness. I was losing so much blood. I was getting hit. My breathing was suffering with the body triangle. So, if I'm not going to quit stuff like that, then what am I going to quit at? And that's the sort of mentality I'm going with. I've been through the worst sort of thing that can happen to you as a fighter. I mean, probably would have been better for me physically if I got just knocked out, because then I wouldn't have had all the trauma. But
right,
no, I'm ready to go.
Is there something like I have a lot of young amateur fighters that follow me? There are a few amateur Brits that follow me as well. I'm sure they're going to be really excited when they see this. And I'd be remiss to not ask you this question on their behalf. You have a lot of wisdom. You've been in this cage. You've fought the biggest fights under the brightest lights. Sometimes in this sport, things aren't going to go your way. What is the key to getting over a tough loss and kind of moving on with your career and putting all the difficulties behind you?
Just, I think, knowing you did everything you could do to win the fight. And then sort of the same thing, if you didn't do everything you knew you could have done in the build up to the fight or something, make sure you do everything in the next fight. And just have that as your mentality. If you feel you ain't done enough, make sure you do enough in the next time. And if it doesn't pay off when you've done everything you thought you could, then, it just wasn't meant to be. Yeah, I just believe that, if you put everything in it, you will be rewarded if you put the hard work in. And, I wasn't rewarded for it this time, and I thought I put in everything I could, but all I'm seeing it as is, it happened for a reason. Maybe I was going to make it to the UFC and I was going to get cut after a couple of fights, Like I've said many times before, I'm in it for a long time, not a good time when I get to the UFC. I don't want to be one of these guys that have 3 fights and get cut. When I'm in the UFC, I want to finish my career in the UFC, and I want to finish it at a very, very high level and worldwide recognized great career.
Jordan, I have one final question for you. Your 2023 starts off 24 March. We got roughly 30 days out from the fight. What are some of the things that you're looking to achieve this year? You've already talked about I want to put some wins together. I need to kind of like get back up on the radar. This is your first chance out there to really prove to people that you've kind of taken that next step and you're ready to go up to that next level. But can you tell me, like, what are some of the things that you have in mind that you'd like to achieve this year?
I'm just wanting to focus each fight as they come, and I'm wanting to get plenty of fights this year. I want to be active this year. I want to be reminding everybody that who I am, and also showing them that maybe I'm not the person they think I am. I'm a lot more well versed than they think I am, and that's my game plan for this year. I want to be. I mean, I think I'm widely uh, recognized as sort of one of the top MMA fighters, but I want to be the top, not one of the top. I want people to think like, yeah, if we've got a British UK star, this is the guy. I want everybody to think it.
Well, I certainly think that, Jordan, you're a very special fighter. But I admire you more for outside of the cage. I'm not going to really get too much into all of that right now, but I'll just say that I know about your story. There are a lot of people that could identify with that, and life's not always easy, but sometimes you just got to dust yourself up and press on.
Yeah.
And when I think about somebody who's been able to do that and inspire a lot of people in the process, I think of you and your story, able to overcome obstacles in your personal life. There's no one else out there that deserves a shot in the UFC more than you. And I hope to see you there very soon, my friend. You deserve it.
No, thank you very much. No, I hope so too, and it'll be a good thing ticked off, and then that will be the start of the journey,
Yes,
and that's not
sir.
the end. The start.
Hey, it's going to be a very exciting thing to witness when you do get your opportunity. You're the type of guy I want to see fight in the O2 arena. I want to see you and all the other young English stars out there doing what it is that you're put on this earth to do, and that's fight and entertain people. Jordan, I want to give you one final chance. If there are any folks out there, if there are any companies or supporters that you'd like to discuss or mention before I let you go, I'd like to give you that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just all my sponsors. Everybody that buys tickets, all my sponsors, logistics people, CEO Gas, Carvin Security. I've got so many Ross aggregates and Rose aggregates. Sorry, I've just got so many, and all these people coming on. Ian Young, all these people just coming on, helping me, pushing me, and really letting me express myself and do what I need to do. It's hard when I've got my third child about to be born, and it's hard to balance that. But I really do try to give it my all, and I really do. I don't skip workouts. I get even when I feel like I can't do it, I get there and I do it. And I think I I get a lot more um, eyes on me in fights than a lot of guys do, and that's because I'm putting in the work that these guys ain't putting in, and that's what I think it is, and I'm never going to take for granted all the support I get, all my training and all that, and I never forget everybody that helps me. Um, I might not tell them all the time, but I'm always thinking about everybody that's helped me, past, present, and future. I'm just grateful for everything and everyone.
Well, I'm grateful for your time this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jordan Vucenic, future UFC featherweight champion. Thank you for your time, champ. I really appreciate you.
No, thank you very much.